This month I was supposed to talk about all the E3 showcases, though I haven't actually finished watching them yet, and it turns out I've got to go on another trip this week. But I did go on holiday, so let's talk about that instead. Took me like 4 tries to get that intro right. First though, I do actually have to correct something I said in the last podcast. It doesn't really matter, but I realised afterwards that I told a story about going to see Morbius and about some girls stealing my seat and everything. That just didn't happen. I did go and see Morbius, and some girls did steal my seat in the cinema, but that was actually 2 completely different trips. And I was just so focused on Morbius at the time that it all just blended together in my head. The girls actually stole my seat when I went to see Doctor Strange, and I was just so focused on Morbius that I actually forgot I saw Doctor Strange at all. Doctor Strange was pretty good. There were some bits in it where I didn't feel like it felt like much of a Marvel film, but all of the times when I felt like it didn't feel like a Marvel film, I felt like it felt like a Sam Raimi film. So, it was good. It was just about what I expected. It was cool seeing the Illuminati, seeing them do things. I don't know what it means. Maybe we'll see more stuff from, those characters in the future. But yeah, it was pretty good. I don't have much to say on it. It was over a month ago I've seen it at this point, so it's not the freshest in my memory, but I just wanted to explain what actually happened. I feel like all of my podcasts end up with me going, oh, I'm going to try and be quick this time, and then they always end up being about the same length. Last month I mentioned that I was supposed to go on a trip to see a concert, but the concert got cancelled, or rather it got rearranged, so we didn't go. So it got rearranged to this month, so we went instead then. So we ended up spending a week in Liverpool, which was nice. I've been to Liverpool, but the only time I've been to Liverpool was to get a passport. I never spent more than a couple of hours there. And even when I did go, I was in one office for 4 hours and then we came straight home, so it wasn't the most thrilling of trips. It was pretty nice. It was very warm, which is just kind of unusual for this country. Well, I suppose it's getting more normal now, but used to be pretty weird. The area in Liverpool we were in was nice. We were literally right on the dock. We were a 5-minute walk from the Tate and from the Museum of Liverpool. We were right on the front. So it was really nice. We could just get up and go for a walk first thing in the morning each day, which was nice. We went to so many museums. We were only there for not even 4 full days. We were there for 3 full days and 2 halves. Half on the first day, half on the last. We went to 6 museums in the 4 days. It was just kind of ridiculous. And we went on a boat trip and we went on a giant Ferris wheel, and then we had the concert we went to, I was talking about. So we just did a lot in not very much time. And to some extent, because we did so much in such a small amount of time, it all kind of blurs together. But it was definitely all fun. I'd say some things were not super worth it. We went to the World Museum, which is a big museum of stuff from all over the place, and that was pretty good. It was free to get in, but you have to pay for the exhibitions. I think we spent about 40 quid in total on exhibitions because we went to see, there was a Doctor Who exhibition on, so we saw that. And then there's a planetarium, and we went and saw that as well. That was pretty good. Because of the time we were there, we had to just see the film that was on, which ended up being a cartoon about the sun. So it was it was a bit childish. It was aimed at 3-year-olds. But, I mean, it was still nice. But that museum was pretty good. But we spent ages there. We spent long enough there that we didn't think we'd get anything else done that day. So we went to walk to another museum and figured we'd just do a bit of it and then go back if we needed to finish it off. And then that other museum was the Museum of Liverpool, which is literally just a museum about Liverpool. And I think we spent an hour there in total. Despite being a massive building, there's very little inside. But again, it's free, so it was nice and it was free, so it was fine. We went to the Tate as well, which wasn't very long and wasn't the most interesting thing. I'm not really into art. I just very rarely find it interesting. I don't know, unless I particularly emotionally connect to a single piece, generally am not interested. It's not I don't think it has value, I just personally don't care. But those 3 were free. And then I think the others we went to were all paid museums. No, we went to one more art gallery, the Walker Art Gallery. That was free as well, and that was okay. There was an exhibition which was pay what you want. We actually weren't going to go in because we didn't want to pay. But then the route through the museum kind of forces you to go through it. So we had to. I mean, it was nice, There was one artist and their work was made entirely of paint, and I realise that sounds like really kind of obvious, but what I mean is like it was a plastic bag. And like it was a plastic bag that was made of paint. And it was just like hundreds of layers of paint painted like on top of itself until it became a 3D object. And it was the same thing where like there was staples that they'd painted out of paint and like bits of canvas that were painted out of paint as opposed to like being a canvas or whatever. And it was really weird, but it was cool. Fully 3D objects, and they were like sticking out of the wall, but it was entirely made of paint. And there were some other like interesting pieces, but again, I'm not like super into art, so it wasn't really my thing, but it was interesting for what it was. So those ones are all free. And those ones, like, I'm always like, yeah, this is alright, it's not amazing, but it's pretty cool, like, on a lot of the things. But I'm also, like, way more lenient on them because they're entirely free. We went to a couple more museums, but they were paid for ones, and I just don't think they were worth it. Like, one of the ones we went to was, it was like a World War II exhibition. It was actually in, like, the bunkers they used while World War II was going on to coordinate the war effort. And it was specifically where they coordinated all the fighting over the Atlantic. And it was, like, really interesting. But it was, like, 30 quid for the two of us to get in, and we were there for, like, half an hour. It's not very big. It's one of those things where it's, like, it's really interesting. But for the amount of money we spent, it doesn't feel like it was worth it. But to some extent, like, I kind of feel like that one has more value. Like, there was a lot to do there, it just wasn't very big. And you got, like, a cool... It was a replica of the pass you had to have to get into the building. So it's like a book, and they had, like, a stamp rally thing around the museum, so you'd, like, stamp it as you went through different places. And, like, you get to keep that at the end, so, like, that's kind of nice. The people who worked there were, like, dressed in period clothing, and, like, it was really interesting. It was just a bit expensive. It was worth it. But maybe just a bit more than I'd want to spend. But then we went to another museum, and it was like a British music experience, I think it was called, something like that. And it was just bad. We were really lucky in that the woman at the counter just decided to give us a discount. But it should have been like 40 quid for the two of us to get in. Even with the discount, it was still 30. And we were in there for like 20 minutes. It's a single floor with 3-4 sets of shelves on one wall, 4 on another wall, and then like a fake stage in the center where they like play a video of people playing music. And then there's a little area sponsored by Gibson where you can play guitars. And that's it. That's the entire exhibition. And it was so expensive. Like, it was just kind of ridiculous how expensive it was to get in. It just was not worth the price we paid. Now, what I will say is that all of the places that we went to, like the ones you paid for, you can just get back in whenever you want to for like a year. So that makes it more valuable if you like live nearby. And I live near enough that I feasibly could go, like if I felt like it. But I won't, because there is not enough there for me to want to. Either of them. I just think £10 a ticket is maybe the max I'd want to spend. And especially for the music one. Like the World War II one I can understand because it's such an old place and they used it for like really important stuff at the time. Like I can understand why like a lot of the money would probably got like upkeep costs for that. But the music one was just, it wasn't very good. It wasn't very big. There wasn't like a whole lot there. I don't understand what most of the money the ticket price goes on. Like it just did not feel worth it at all. Like, I'm not gonna go back. I have no interest in going back. I always end up, like, coming out of them and, like, judging it based on, like, how much money I feel like the thing was worth, like, based on how long I've spent there. And the fact that I was done with that entire museum in, like, it was definitely less than an hour. It was close to, like, half an hour. Maybe 20 minutes is, like, a bit less than we spent, but, like, it was, like, half an hour. And it's not like we rushed around, like, we read everything. They had some like interactive exhibits that we didn't really do, because I would have done more of them, but it was really hard to control. I'm sure you've seen them before, like they used to have them with like banks and stuff. It's like a roller ball, and you like roll it around to point it at the things you want. And that sounds okay, except I really can't describe it very well. It was basically like a fancy spreadsheet. It was like a fancy spreadsheet in that you'd scroll to a cell and like click it, and it would show you what was in that cell, basically, right? The issue was that the balls would like stick constantly. So you'd roll it and it wouldn't move, and then you'd roll it and it wouldn't move, and you'd roll it and it wouldn't move, and you'd roll it and then it moved like 4 spaces. And it did this every single time you wanted to use it, and it just kept skipping over information or like randomly moving. It was just a nightmare. We did the ones for our birthdays to like see what happened in our years and that. But besides that, I couldn't be dealing with like actually using the stuff. When you go in, they sort of talk about, oh, there's a bit at the end where you can like play the instruments and people can spend loads of time there. And I went and it's all guitars. There's one acoustic guitar and then like 6 different electric guitars. There wasn't even like a bass guitar. Just guitars. There might have been a keyboard. Maybe. But there was so little there to actually use. We're talking like 7 or 8 booths. And at least 6 of them was some form of guitar. An acoustic guitar or an electric guitar. It just wasn't very interesting. But yeah, so like I say, the thing we actually went for though was a concert. I don't know, she says it's her favourite band, but she changes what her favourite band is every couple of times. So she really likes Billy Talent, and they were playing in the UK, and it's the first time here in like 4 or 5 years, I think. I think we saw them on the last tour as well, and like, so we went and saw them, and they were good. Like, I don't really know what to say. Like, I'm not like super into them. I like one album. Luckily, for some reason, they played mostly that album, despite that album being nearly 20 years old. Like, they played, I think, 16 songs in total, and 5 of them were from one of their albums, and they have like 6 albums in total. There was just way more of Billy Talent 2 than anything else for like no reason. And I mean, it's cool, because like, that's my favourite, but it's also a bit weird. I also always just feel weird going to concerts. I'm not the most like expressive person at a concert. I don't like dance and jump and shit. Kind of just like stand there and watch. My wife mostly just stands there and watch as well, but she also wants to be really close to the front, and I feel really uncomfortable doing that. I got loads of people like staring at us the entire time. There was a guy to my side, and I noticed he kept like dancing and stuff, and then he'd just stare at me for a bit because I wasn't doing anything. Besides that, I mean, it was fine. There was one supporting act called Tigress, and they were completely fine. My wife seems to like them now, but I thought it was okay at best. Like, it wasn't amazing. It was nothing I'm gonna listen to again, not intentionally. Some really nice food while we were there as well. I went to a Mexican place and got birria tacos for the first time. That was pretty nice. It wasn't like amazing. It was nice. It wasn't like spectacular, but it was pretty good. My wife got a cheese and potato quesadilla though, and that was like really good. That was like way better than anything I got. But we also went out for pizza, and we both got charcoal pizzas. Hers was just a charcoal margarita pizza, and mine was a charcoal, they called it a volcano? It was just a calzone. Although it's not really a calzone, it's kind of a calzone, but it's more like a pizza with a lid. It's basically a normal pizza with all the toppings on of a normal pizza, and then they put just another piece of dough on top of it, as opposed to like a normal calzone where you like fold it over in that. It was nice. Not amazing. It was perhaps a little bit salty for me. I don't really like salt very much. But yeah, it was fine. It was probably the least favourite thing I ate while we were there. We went for burgers one night, which, if you know me, I'll always enjoy. So I was very happy with the burgers. Again, they weren't like spectacular, but they were pretty good. And then we did go out for a steak, and it was one of the best steaks I've ever eaten. And this time it didn't put me in hospital, so that's nice. It was a nice trip. We also got a lot of milkshakes. We got like a milkshake every day, and I got a butterscotch and caramel milkshake every day, and it was a really good milkshake. It was way too expensive, but it was great. But yeah, it was a nice trip, and it was nice to finally get away. Like, it's the first time I've been outside of my house on like a trip I wanted to go on since before the pandemic. Like, I think the last time was when we went to Gamescom, and that was 2019. And now we've got to decide if we're going to Gamescom this year, which part of me really wants to, but it's also a lot of money, and like not a huge amount of time to plan, because it's in 2 months. So I just don't know, but I'd like to, but I also don't know. And it's like way more of a piss take now, because of leaving the EU and everything. Like, when we went last time, we had left by that point, but we were still like sharing the rules and stuff, so a lot of stuff didn't really matter. Whereas now this time more of the stuff matters. Like, I don't think we're like covered for any of the hospital stuff. Like, if one of us gets injured or something now, like, I don't really know. It's a fucking joke. I just hate my government, but I think if you know me, you know that already. I have watched like half of the E3 stuff. I know it's not E3, but it's basically E3, isn't it? I've watched half of that stuff now, and like I say, I really wanted to get it watched by... I was planning at worst of pushing my podcast back to like the very end of the month, like on the Thursday rather than on the Sunday like I usually do, just to try and get all of the E3 stuff watched so I could talk about that now. But I knew I was going on another trip. I did not realise I was going on that trip on Thursday, which means I just don't have time. I haven't finished watching them at this point anyway, so I'm now going to finish watching them, and I guess that's what next month's podcast will be about. It just feels a bit weird, like, doing this stuff about E3 well over a month after it happened. I want to talk about it at some point, because I always like the stuff. Maybe I'll see if I can get someone on to talk about it with me. But I say that, like, all the time, and then I never do, because I just feel uncomfortable asking people. Right, so I'm trying to keep this one quick, like I said, so actually, for once, I am doing pretty well for time. So, I think next we'll go for my channel update. Don't think there's anything else I really want to talk about. Oh, I suppose I can talk very briefly about... I've been playing a lot of Stardew recently, and I put like 40 hours into the game and got barely up to the end of the first year. Like I was still in the winter of the first year. And then I've put another 30 hours into it in the last like 2-3 weeks. And I'm now at the end of the third year. And I've also got married and everything. And like, I've just done like so much. And I've got to the point where like I've got so much money and nothing I even want to spend it on. Like I'm just wandering around with like 2 million gold. Nothing I really want to buy. But I find it really relaxing. I really want to get to the point where I've got all the candles lit on the grandfather's shrine so I can get that iridium thing. Because I don't actually like going to the mines. And the idea of going to the other mines to try and get iridium doesn't appeal to me at all. Like, I'll have to do it at some point, but I just don't really want to. But there's like a statue that you get from getting all the candles lit that will give you iridium bars every day. And that will speed up everything I do loads. So, I really want to do that. That's kind of like the next thing I've got planned. But I don't know how long it's going to take. Because a lot of the stuff I've got left to do now is stuff I don't like doing. Like, I've got a lot of fishing to do, and I don't really enjoy the fishing. I like it. I just wish some of the aspects were like, I don't know, not even easier. Just, there's some aspects of it that you kind of like, not exactly have to do. Like, you could play the game without doing it, but if you want to get stuff done, you have to do. And I don't enjoy them. Like, I don't really enjoy the combat in the slightest. And that's why I don't like going to the mines, because I don't like the combat. And I don't really enjoy fishing, but if I want to finish off the community centre, I have to do the fishing, so I'll do it at some point, but just not, like, super into it. And I've also been playing a lot of Neon White. When I first saw the trailer for Neon White, I thought it looked really good. Then I saw more trailers for it, and I was like, maybe I won't like it. I really wasn't sure if I wanted to get it at all. I actually like had all of this month's videos planned and everything. And then the game came out and I was just like, I'll just get it. And then I got it. And it's really good. It's just really fucking good. I had a conversation today where I found out that there's like 5 different grades. There's bronze, which is basically just finishing the level. It doesn't matter what your time is, you'll get at bronze. There's a silver for like 3rd, and then there's a gold, and there's an ace, which is like a turquoisey colour. And then apparently there are red ones as well, and that's for beating like the dev times. And like I said that at the time that I don't think I'll ever do any of those. Some of the times are a bit odd to me in that sometimes there are ones where it's like the ace time is so far ahead of the gold time that I can't understand how you do it. I like that the game gives you like actual physical hints in the levels to like kind of tell you where to go once you've got to that point. That's nice. But there are other ones where I beat one of the ace times by like 4 seconds. And apparently like that's still not as fast as the dev did it. But like I'm just saying how like I beat it so quickly. What I'm saying is I feel like some of the timings could be better. I feel like some of them could be tighter and some of them could be looser. But it's such a small complaint because I've enjoyed everything else. It reminds me of games like Cyberhook and what's it called? Oh, it begins with a V. I'm gonna have to look it up because it's annoying me. It's something Swing. That was it. Okay, it's Verlet Swing. So Verlet Swing and Cyberhook and then Ghost Runner. Very similar to all of those games in the sort of like stuff it requires of you, but it's just way better presented and has like a story and like characters and things that I actually find interesting. Verlet Swing is really cool, but gets like prohibitively hard right near the end, for me, at least. I think there's 100 levels and I got up to like 94 and I just couldn't do it. And like Cyberhook, I got like partway through and I just like kind of fell off. Both of those are really cool, but there's just like not quite enough to keep me either way. And they feel very long. And like Ghost Runner has such an emphasis on the combat that I can't focus on the stuff I actually care about. Whereas Neon White, so far at least, has struck like a perfect balance for me between all the stuff. And like I'm only on for day 4, I think. So I've done like 30 levels so far. So far at least, like I say, it's struck like this perfect balance for me where like the levels are sometimes hard. I wouldn't even say any of them were that hard so far. It's just like, it's kind of like what I say about puzzles a lot of the time, where my ideal puzzle, the puzzle is not hard to execute, it's just wrapping your head around it. It's just working out the puzzle is the difficulty, and then as soon as you've worked it out, it's just doing it. And it's weird because usually in the game where it's about your speed, it's rarely actually about the planning, because even once you've planned it, you've still got to execute it perfectly. And yet, in general, this game, like, I have been able to execute my plan, like, perfectly almost, pretty much every time. There's been a couple of times when I've, like, struggled with it. Not even struggled, you know, like, it's taken me 1 or 2 tries. But I keep saying the same thing, but I don't know how else to describe it. It's struck like this perfect balance between its difficulty and it's still compelling, and the characters are interesting, although a little bit weird, but it's entirely intentional. Like, it's just really good. Like, I don't really know what else to say. I'm really enjoying it. And I've kind of, like, accidentally been LPing it. Not intentionally, but I've been doing it on my streams, which I'm going to talk about a bit later. I've been doing it on my streams, and I've only been doing the new stuff on my stream, and I've been like going back off stream and like running it to, there are like gifts you can give people hidden around the levels, so I've been like going and replaying old levels to find the gifts, and I've been like going to replay old levels to like get better times sometimes. Like, I'm not super into the whole getting a better time thing. The game actually does one thing that I really don't like, and I've spoken before about how much I dislike it, where just beating a level isn't enough. You have to beat the level enough to progress. So what I mean is, like, if I beat the 3rd mission, I can't necessarily progress onto the 4th, because I need to have gotten enough gold or ace ranks across all the other missions to progress. And I actually really dislike that. In this situation, it's not been an issue for me. I feel like kind of hypocritical in that I'm saying, oh, it doesn't bother me, I really like it. But at the same time, I know that if I was doing worse than this, I'd hate it. And like, I do hate it in other games where I do worse. I kind of just want to be able to finish the game regardless of my performance. If I can get through the level, I should be able to finish stuff. I should be able to progress. But tell me I've got to go back to the level again that I've just done because like I didn't do well enough. It kind of goes to the whole, like, I don't replay games. I just don't like doing stuff I've already done. I don't enjoy it. Like, even if I am better the next time, I don't enjoy doing that. This game, I kind of do enjoy it, which, like I say, is rare. So, like, I have been enjoying doing it this time, but I would say that this game does a thing I hate really well, but it doesn't mean I don't hate it. It just doesn't bother me too much in this one instance. I do think the game would be better if it wasn't there. It's not even a matter of better. It's just more accessible, like, whatever. Like, I would just prefer it if it wasn't. Despite the fact that it doesn't actually impact me at all in this situation, I would prefer it if it wasn't there. But yeah, besides that and the thing about the timing things, like, it's been great so far. Like, I'm going to play more. I'm going to try and finish it quite soon. I want to finish it before I go away, which there's 10 missions and I'm on for the 4th mission now, so there's 6 left. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I've only got 5 streams left. Maybe I won't make it. Because, as I was saying, I'm going away next Thursday. Well, this Thursday after the podcast comes out. I won't be able to stream that day. And obviously won't be able to stream the Friday because I won't be here. So that's kind of annoying. I might be able to do it. I'm going to try. Just means I'll have to, I don't know, do a longer stream sometime, something like that. Maybe on the Tuesday. I'll see what I can do. Because I want to get it finished, and if I'm going to finish it, I might as well finish it on stream. Because I'd rather not have to wait to finish it until I come home. But we'll see. Actually, before we get to the channel update, I've got one more thing, which is my Steam Deck is coming tomorrow. So I'm very excited. I'm going to have to learn to play Final Fantasy on a controller, which is going to be a bit weird. But I've been looking forward to getting this for so long at this point. Because I just really hate taking my laptop places when I travel. Taking this instead is going to be way preferable for me. It will cause me some issues, because like I actually, like, My wife and I will like watch videos together on my laptop sometimes. We like watching like food videos before we go to sleep and stuff. And I still can, but can't do it as well on the Steam Deck as we can on my laptop. We'll kind of maybe lose out on that a little bit, but I might see if I can get one of the like travel dock things. Like I was planning to get the actual Steam Deck dock, but that's been delayed. So I might see if I can get like just a dock with like a video out, because I know they can do that. So I can hook it up to a TV if I'm somewhere. But either way, like I'm just excited to not have to travel with my laptop and a keyboard and a mouse every time I go away, just so I can like play Final Fantasy or something. I'm just excited for it to come. I hope I like it. We'll talk about that a bit next month as well. Would have been nice if I could talk about it this month, but it's taking fucking forever to get here. Right, anyway, the last thing is channel update. So, Monster Hunter Rise ended the day this podcast comes out, so today. It was fun, but you're not going to have to wait very long, because Sunbreak starts next week, possibly the week after. Like I keep saying, because I'm going away, and the game doesn't come out till Thursday, I've got to try and record 3 episodes of Sunbreak on the Thursday before I go away, which is just going to be kind of tight, because I've got like other work to do that day as well. So, either, depending on how things go that day, either the LP will start that weekend or the weekend after. It's definitely going to start. I'm just not totally sure when, but that'll be that. The Imposter Factory LP also just ended, which I wasn't planning to have 2 LPs end at exactly the same time. And especially considering I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to replace Imposter Factory with. Something. Usually I'm a lot more prepared than this, but this one time I'm not. I've been saying this a lot. I've done the same number of LPs so far this year as I did last year, but the ones last year took me way longer. I was planning to do Imposter Factory about when I started Finding Paradise last year, which was like October, something like that. And this year it's finished by July, so I need to find something else to do. And like, right now, I don't know what that will be. There's definitely games I'd like to play. There's games I'd like to LP, maybe? But I haven't started any of them yet, which usually I kind of would have by now. So, I need some time to think about that. So, I'm going to take the normal week off, like I usually do. And then a new LP will start the week after, hopefully, preferably. I'll do something. Like, I'll definitely have something going up, but I've not decided what that is yet. Every couple of seconds while I'm talking, I have to retake something, because I'll move my hand and my wrist will click, and it'll click like so loudly that it'll like peak my recording, and it'll be like in the middle of me saying a word. So I'll have to then restart. It's a matter of restarting or going through and manually clicking out every single click, and it's just really annoying. But yeah, my new stream type things have started, and they seem to be going okay. It's been kind of weird so far, because they have actually given me way more free time. Because all I'm doing is playing the games I would normally play anyway, but on stream now. It's basically like the games I would usually space out over the course of the day, all in one block, at one time. And that's just freed up like multiple hours later on in the day. So, I mean, it's nice, but right now, I haven't decided what to fill that time with. Probably some other form of work, but we'll find out what that is later. I'm liking doing them. They seem pretty good so far. I like how 20 minutes ago I said, oh, I'm doing pretty well for time, and now it's been another 20 minutes. But yeah, those streams have been going well. Like, they're going to keep going. When I find more stuff to do in Final Fantasy, I'll like switch off and do a Final Fantasy stream. Like, just do all that in one block, and then switch back to doing these, and like just alternate as and when I need to. That's going to keep going. Everything else is going to keep going. I say everything else. 2 other things. Don't think there's anything else to do. Special thanks to all of my patrons. You can join them over at patreon.com/Holden Gatsby, and for $1 a month, you'll get to see what I'm working on early and get exclusive roles in my Discord along with other rewards I might think of. You can also just follow me there if you want to for free, as it's probably the best place to see all of my content as soon as it's available. There's links to the Patreon along with my Discord, Twitter, Twitch, and all the other podcast platforms in the description for this episode. Finally, don't forget you can email me using podencastby@gmail.com if you've got anything you want to say. Thanks for sticking around. Bye. Special thanks to my patrons, Justin Wood, Hobbs, Scoopy Vegeta, Gunrunner, Water, and Bad. You can join my patrons at patreon.com/Holden Gatsby, follow me on Twitter @Holden Gatsby, and follow my Twitch at twitch.tv/Holden Gatsby. Don't forget to subscribe to both of my channels. Thanks for sticking around. Bye.